It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi! Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
We're back on the left versus the right. Hope you're enjoying this program on this Saturday afternoon. The first day of spring, Your Honor. It's the first day of blooming flowers and the first day of peace and tranquility. There's nothing like spring. It's a rebirth.
I'm all for that. I'm all for rebirth. I'm all for peace and tranquility.
But I'm feeling it.
Where's the peace and
however coming. Go right ahead.
So let's take it from where we left off. What's going on with the foreign powers who don't realize that this is a fight that's being fought to protect them? For example, the Strait of Hormuz. You know who gets the oil from that strait? Not the Americans. Not the Americans at all.
No, you're right. And
it's the Europeans who get the benefit of that, and China gets it.
Exactly.
So give me a break, and they won't even. They announce they'll send a battleship or an aircraft carrier after we've won. That'll be very helpful. And they need to open up the Strait of Hormuz. And unless they realize that's absolutely essential, they're allowing these other people to checkmate the world economy and to destroy it. And the Saudis stupidly just said, well, you know, if the war doesn't end soon, you'll have a $180 barrel of oil. Guess what? This is not a war of choice by the United States and by Israel. This is a war of necessity. And if they had nuclear weapons, you could damn sure that they will do whatever they have to blackmail Europe into doing what they want Europe to do. Exactly. So now let's flash to a different part of this discussion. What is it about the people of the United States today that they still support the president, the majority, over 60% support? The Republicans are totally in line, with the exception of the lunatic right-wing fringe led by Tucker Carlson, Candace Owen, Nick Fuentes, Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly, right. People like that. I have to tell you, but the base of the Republican Party supports him, and even a large percentage of Democrats support him.
On this issue, without a doubt.
And it's necessary. But yet, why is there a group that seems to oppose him? Well, the Democrats oppose him just because they suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. And the young people who don't like Trump, do not understand history, have no knowledge of history, do not understand the threat, think socialism is just wonderful, and there are no problems with socialism, even though human experience has shown it fails everywhere.
And every time, and at the cost of tens of millions and hundreds of millions of lives. People's lives have been destroyed, whether it's China, whether it's Russia, whether it's North Korea, whether it's Cambodia, whether it's Vietnam, wherever it's raised, Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela, wherever it's raised its ugly heads, communism / radical socialism, they've destroyed human dignity, freedom of opportunity, freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. And this is what is being pushed by the far left in the Democratic Party. And they're isolationists, so let it happen. And then on the right wing of the Republican Party, you have these fools, the Tucker Carlson wing, who are going after Trump for protecting Western civilization. Trump understands what has to be done, and I don't agree with him all the time, but on this one, he's absolutely correct. Well, you know, about 78 years ago, there was a man who very much made the public feel
that he had their concerns at the top of his list and got himself elected and completely, right before everybody's very eyes, changed and started to dominate all of Europe. And who knows, had things been different, perhaps expanded this rule all around the globe. And of course, his name was Adolf Hitler. My question to you is, people run for office. I'm one of them. And you get into office, and then you start thinking about what it is you'd like to accomplish. But then you have these people who run for office. It almost appears to me as if they just want to be there. They just want to be in office, after which they don't really do much of anything. President Carter, it was toward the end of his first term, but that's when the whole conflict arose in 1979.
79.
And so he really just whimpering left out of office. He didn't take any strong position at all. President Ronald Reagan came in, and that situation was turned around rather quickly. You've had other presidents like, and I hate to say it, but President Obama, I voted for him, and he comes into office. And I don't know, did he have like a great aunt who was Iranian or something? Because he always seemed to be wanting to make these deals with Iran, and he always thought that Iran would honor them. And he went out of office really without anybody fearing anything that he was going to do. And my question to you is just psychologically, why do human beings, and between the two of us, we know a lot of them, take the time out, they raise money, they go visit different neighborhoods to get support, they get an office, they're able to expand it. Some of them become statewide authorities because they become the governor of their states. But when a real crisis comes up, they fade in such a way that you wonder how they got there in the first place.
Human nature being what it is, people want a free ride. Very few people really have a real strong moral compass or a real strong work ethic. That's been my experience. They want the benefits of prosperity. They don't want to work for it. Europe is filled with people who have lunch all day and they go for a siesta. I mean, which is not exactly the most productive thing you can do with your time. In terms of running for office and holding office, I've been blessed with a lack of ambition to run for or hold elective office. I've been fortunate in my career to be appointed.
And if I might say, by some of the very well-regarded elected officials, such as the former Speaker of the City Council, Peter Vallone, and that combination of the two of you did a lot for the city when you were working during the term of Mayor Koch, right?
We worked. We had Koch, we had Dinkins, and we had Giuliani. We had all three of them. Look, Peter Vallone had a moral compass. He had a sense of what the right thing to do was. He loved the city. He wanted to protect and defend the city. We dealt with economic crisis. We dealt with social crisis. We dealt with crisis of public safety, and we addressed it with courage and hopefully wisdom. The future generations were the beneficiary of that. The problem is the population of the city today is more than half the people have no idea what you're talking about the bad old days of Dave, do something, there's no law and order, the violence that was going on. It was Vallone. Right. It was Vallone in the city council who led the way for Safe Streets, Safe City, even though David Dinkins took credit for it when he ran for re-election against Giuliani. But frankly, it was Vallone who forced it down Dinkins' throat to make sure we had the cops to do the job. And when Dinkins wanted to raise taxes, we said, we're in a recession. You don't raise taxes in a recession.
And it's amazing because there was this understanding, at least I thought at some point, that these people could work together. But when Dinkins in particular, and it's a very good friend of mine, he married my wife and I, and was always a close friend, always gave me very good advice. But for some reason, he just didn't seem to want to put himself out there and let everybody know, I'm going to put a stop to this.
Well, you asked the question about people wanting the office, but when they're there, they don't seem to understand that they have a responsibility. When you take an office, whether it's elected or appointed, you have a responsibility to do the best job you can using the best sense of ethics and effort that you can make to serve the larger public good. It's what, if you look at back to Thucydides and Pericles' funeral oration, it's all about subsuming your private interest to the larger public good. And David, who was a nice enough person, and I knew David at City Hall. I knew him when he was the borough president of Manhattan and later the mayor of the city. David really had missed the boat. He didn't understand the crisis that the city was in. But thankfully, he had a deputy mayor, former Judge Milton Mullen, who understood we were a public safety crisis. Something had to be done. And Judge Mullen and I and others, senior staff of the mayor, senior staff of the city council, worked with the leadership of the council and the leadership of the legislature and the governor to get a bill through, later known as Safe Streets, Safe City. And that made all the difference. That turned the city around. That saved the city. If we hadn't done that, the city would have been lost. We gave Giuliani the army to bring back law and order and public safety.
Absolutely. We're sitting here. It's a Saturday afternoon. It's the first complete day of spring. We're having this conversation. And I'm going to pretend that there are no microphones. I'm just going to talk to you as the friend of mine that you've been and tell you that when I got into office, I made decisions, to be honest with you, where I was afraid not to make them. In other words, when I realized how they had fudged the budget deficit when I first came in, and I realized how in that first budgetary year 2009, 2010, that we were going to wind up significantly further in debt than we were. That was the reason why I decided that I was going to challenge the legislature, that if they did not go along with this, that all these programs they want to do and these other issues, that I wasn't going to do them, made me the most unpopular man in Albany, at least at the time, because the same people, I see them now. You really stood up during that time. And I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I did, but where were you at that time? I didn't say that, but, there's something that I've never quite figured out, because almost every year there are a stream of candidates at my door. I want to be the next mayor. I want to be the next governor. I want to do this, that, and the other thing. But I don't feel the commitment in the person's voice. What I feel is someone who would like to top off their resume.
Yeah, they want to buy themselves a title. They want to show off a title. Listen, it's nice to have a title, but with the title comes real responsibilities. And if you don't understand that, you shouldn't be holding the position. It's that simple. So this wasn't just the ramblings or the rantings of a college kid. She did this after October 7th, and she glorified and endorsed on over 70 pieces of social media the October 7th savagery of Hamas.
Including the rapes.
The murders, the tortures.
Condoned.
She condoned this. So, and when Mandami, to his disgrace and discredit, says, well, she's a private citizen. Now, she's not a private citizen. She's the First Lady of New York. And you have over 1 million Jewish people in this city, and you don't have to be Jewish to be angered by this endorsement of terrorism and violence. And so she's not a private citizen. And what this mayor has not done is to set her straight and to repudiate this. An answer that she's just a private citizen, it's a lovely life, doesn't mean no good, does not mean a citizen that this man, for the next 3.5 years, will govern fairly and protect all the communities of the city.
And if I might add, Your Honor, if this is what he's going to tolerate from her, it's only a prelude of what we, the citizenry, are going to tolerate from both of them in the next 2 years, 3 years, and 9 months of his 4-year term. I get the feeling there's going to be a really, really ugly ending to this scenario. I hope you agree.
I think you're absolutely right. I guess we have to take a break.
Yes.
We'll take the break. We'll be back in but a few moments. As I say on my show, Let the Record Show, we'll be back in a few moments with more important and interesting conversation. Please stay with Governor Paterson and myself. Thank you.